Let's do that.
Welcome to Amplify with Purpose Business and Life Unlocked. I'm your host, Odette de Beer, and today we have my special guest, as usual, Janine de Cabo. Thank you, Janine, for joining us. We are going to go into a three-part series on the fascinating topic of happiness. So, if you are diving in for the first time, welcome. Alternatively, if you are a regular visitor, hello. It's so lovely to have you back. Today, we are diving into the science of happiness, uncovering the secrets to leading to more joy in life. I mean, come on, Janine, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Odette. I love this topic, I must say. One of the things that I always say is that you are never fully dressed without a smile. So this is right up my alley today.
Oh, that is so awesome. Right. So let's jump right in. Happiness is something that we all crave. And today we're going to explore the latest research that talks about how people can be truly happy, because it's not just something that you heard or saw in a movie. And it's also not just about smiles and laughter. It's a little bit more complex than that. There's a whole lot of factors at play. Janine, would you mind sharing with us some insights into the science of happiness? What does research say? What's it all about? I mean, enlighten us.
Well, for me, the thing with happiness, number one, is temporal and it's also circumstantial. So happiness is really something that you choose, right? It's something that you make and I want to say, carve out for yourself throughout life. Where the difference between happiness and joy is the thing that is internal, but also eternal. So that has got more to do with the soul than it's got to do with circumstances. Now, I believe and that's what we will see today is when you combine the two, then you can truly be happy for a very long time.
Oh wow, that is pretty cool. I like the perspective. So we're not just talking about one thing. Actually, it's two different things, and it's interesting that we're having this conversation because most people, even I did in the introduction, use them interchangeably. So recent studies have actually shown that happiness is solely dependent on external circumstances, like you've just said,
Exactly.
and genetics actually do play a role, but it's not as big a deal as you think, because it's something that you can determine for yourself. So the way that you perceive the world is the way that you will experience it. So if you perceive it to be
Exactly.
dark and gloomy and you've got your sunglasses on, then that's the way that you will perceive it. Research also suggests that nurturing positive relationships is a key contributor to happiness, which is interesting because we always say you become what you surround yourself with. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Our connections, so our family, our friends, and our colleagues actually play a very big role in our well-being. And then obviously there is exercise and meditation, so being in the moment, being present, and also regular activity. I always say that motion manages emotion. So if you're feeling down in the dumps and dull, then you need to go for a walk, because you probably need fresh air, you need to breathe, and you need to move. So Janine, you shared with me in a couple of past sessions that you've got a thing called a happiness worksheet. Now I'm dying to find out what this is all about.
So the happiness worksheet is just if you take the word happiness and use it as an acronym, and this is the place where when you are taking notes, this is where you're going to be taking the notes from, is happiness, the word as an acronym is the H stands for healthy living. Now, you just mentioned that, Odette, how important healthy living is, not only what we eat, but what we do, motion versus emotion, or helps with the emotion, but also what we think. We need to, and we've spoken about this, that we need to think about what we think about. So that's where the healthy living comes in, is it needs to be an overall thing that we do in our life, and that's going to help us towards happiness, right? That's the H. If you look at the A of happiness, then the A stands for appreciate the little things. Now,
Ooh.
this is where, it's such a simple thing. You can take 10 minutes or 5 minutes in the morning and just speak and just talk about gratitude. I love the sunset. I love the sun, the sunrise, like I appreciate my husband, I appreciate my wife, I appreciate my children, the fact that they're going to a good school. There's so many things we can appreciate, be grateful for, and be thankful for. And if we just take that in a couple of minutes every single day, it doesn't have to be in the morning, Odette, it's throughout the day. That has been my experience, is if we do it throughout the day, it becomes a way of life. And that also makes a very big difference. The P of happiness stands for purposeful living. I never want to live a day just because I woke up this morning and this is what I'm going to do for the day. I truly want to live a life filled with purpose. I want to know that when I get up in the morning, there is something that I have to do that's going to make my life better, my family's life better, but even more than that, the people around me, it's going to make their life better. We are all here for a purpose, Odette. And
Absolutely.
it's time really that we step into that for everyone. What are we doing here if we're not living for purpose?
Absolutely.
Then we're just living from Monday to Friday, or we're living for the weekend, or we're living for Friday. And I never
Mm,
want to live a life like that,
mm,
because when you're living a life that is not full of purpose, you're going to be always tired, you're going to be worn out, you're going to be burnt out. You're not going to be positive. You're not going to find happiness because you it's like you said, you're basically going through life with sunglasses.
mm,
So the other P that we speak about is personal relationships. And that's what you also said, is we need to see who the personal relationships are that we surround ourselves with, because that's so important. Who you surround yourself with will definitely determine your mood. And if you are in a place where it's always negative, well, you know what? That's Guess what your mood is going to be like? It's always going to be negative. So we can choose our personal relationships and the people we want to be around and surround ourselves with on a daily basis. So the I of happiness is obviously my favorite because it means intentional living. And as you know, that in my book, I also speak about happiness in intentionality. So what is the things that we can intentionally do on a daily basis to ensure our happiness? Now,
mm,
that is a question people need to answer for themselves. What are the things that I like? What are the things that I love? And how can I make those things part of my daily life? You know,
mm,
and I often use the example of exercise because it does make a difference when it comes to happiness, right? It releases endorphins. We understand how that works. I never enjoyed exercise because I thought it's something I had to do. But when I
yes.
started saying, but this is something I want to do because I want to be happier, then all of a
Mm,
sudden I started enjoying it as well. So, what are the things that you can intentionally do on a daily basis? And in one of the upcoming series or one of the upcoming episodes, we'll break that down a little bit of what does intentional living look like. But for
mm,
now, what are the things that you can intentionally do that makes your day better and makes you feel better?
mm,
Um, if we look at the N, it is never compromise. So
ooh,
why I say that is because boundaries is extremely important. And I always say that boundaries beats burnout. So there's
yeah.
certain things that you need to say to yourself, I am not going to compromise on this. I am
Mm,
not going to compromise on the first hour of my day. I am not going to compromise on my lunchtime because that is my time for personal development. What are
mm,
the boundaries that you're going to put in place to say that I'm not going to compromise on these things?
mm,
So that's the N of happiness. The E, every moment counts.
ooh,
So you need to make it count.
yeah.
What are the moments in your day that you can make count? Moments, it all adds up to time, it all adds up to weeks and months and years, and that can really end up, if you make every moment count, your life can be happy.
Mm,
The S is smile when you can. I know life is tough and sometimes it's really hard, but like I said earlier, I just always feel like you never dress without a smile. So really smile when you can. It's such a simple thing. When you walk into a boardroom, smile. The
mm,
atmosphere
yeah.
changes when you do that. When you walk into the office, when you walk into a difficult meeting, when you walk into the home after a long day of work, smile. It changes the atmosphere. It changes the mood of people around you, because smile and happiness really goes hand in hand. And then the last S of happiness, Odette, is to save. We have to save as much as you can. And people are like, what do you mean? We don't have money. We need to save. Oh, save, find a
Yes,
way. Because one of the biggest things that you asked about science, what's the stats saying? The biggest reason for depression for people is financially, is because of financial lack, right? So if you can make part of what you do to save, then it will be so much easier for you. And you can, and do you see happiness is not just one thing?
yeah,
It's
it's a whole
everything.
lot of things.
It's everything. It's every day. It's every moment. It's making those moments count. It's being intentional about what you do, what you think, what you put in your mouth, what you put in your body, how you use your body. It's all of those things together.
Absolutely. So on the saving point, I want to, there's a whole host of thoughts I have, by the way, but I feel like we've agreed to keep these short and punchy. So I'm not going to give you my host of thoughts. However, on savings, it's something I feel very strongly about. And the way, if you're struggling, if you're like, oh, how do we do this? I mean, I only have X. We all only have X. Like happiness, saving is a choice. And if any of you have ever read the Profit First book, it talks about taking a percentage. It's not saying you must take gazillions. It talks about taking a percentage for profit. Always pay yourself first. That's where the principle comes from. All of these management gurus, they all read it from the same book. Sorry, guys, secret's out. Profit first, savings first. So if you first take out your savings and you first take out your profit, and profit, by the way, should also be taken on your salary. So there are people listening to this who are salaried individuals. You have to take a profit of your income. Like I don't know, guys, it makes sense to me. Like, why are you working 9 to 5 to spend it all? And it's not just about savings, because savings is a portion that you set aside for multiple reasons. It could be for holidays, it could be for rainy days, and profit is the I'm spending on me money. Now, this is not a money show, but money, whether you like it or not, is important in life. We can't pretend that we don't need it. And the reason we need it is so that we can pay for things, because it gives you options. So if you're going to save, then I recommend that you decide, even if you start small. I remember when my husband and I just got married, we had no money. We were two broke kids. Ach, shame, very skinny, because there was just no money. So we didn't eat as well as we do now. And we made the decision back then already. There are some things that you do. We tithe, we save some, spend some, give some. And if you maintain that principle, profit first, savings first, even if you start with $5 or R5, you will be amazed at how quickly that R5 becomes 10, becomes 20, becomes 100, becomes 1,000. And before you know it, you're on your way to Disney and you're like, hey, it's holiday time, baby. So that's my thoughts on savings, guys. It's important, especially now more than ever before. And as we wrap up this section, I'd like us to leave you with a practical tip to increase your happiness today. And for me, it's really simple. Janine said it. It's all about the practice of gratitude. Like Janine said, when she said it, I was like, I actually do that. I wake up really early in the morning. I'm up before the birds, and I have the privilege, and really is, I have the privilege of seeing the sunrise. And that is by far every single morning when I see the sunrise in my very early day. It's beautiful, and I'm grateful for it. And that sets the tone for the rest of the day. Now, yes, there are days when it's raining and I don't see the sunrise, but you still see the sun in the back of the clouds, and it gives you something to be grateful for. And if you just make it a habit of thinking about 3 things that you're grateful for, it doesn't have to be world peace, guys. It can be as simple as I'm grateful for my kids. Or like Janine said, I'm grateful for the roof over my head. Those things make a world of difference. It's the difference between your gray sunglasses and your rose-colored sunglasses. So Janine, on that note, what is your practical tip to boost the mood of our audience today?
For me, it is to be intentional about what you do on a daily basis. Because if you're going to think, like I said earlier, to think about what you're thinking about, you're going to be intentional about what you're thinking, and your thinking leads to your actions, right? So you're going to be like, you're going to wake up in the morning and like, oh, another day. And then you're going to be like, no, that's not what I'm going to be thinking about today. I am waking up and this is going to be a good day, because I also believe we need to speak the things that we want. So you have to say that out loud. It's important to hear yourself when you say something. And this is so simple, Odette, because when we hear other people speak to us, then we believe what they say, right? So why can't we speak to us?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why can't I speak to myself and say, you know what, this is going to be a great day, and believe what I say, right? So
Yes.
for me, be intentional about what you're thinking about, and then be intentional about what you say, because what comes out of here, right, actually determines a lot about your day, about your life, about your marriage, about your business, about your children, about everything in life. So be intentional about you think, and then be intentional about what you say. And I just want, like, this is the thing, Odette, keep it clean. Keep it clean. Simple. Keep it clean.
Words create worlds.
Yeah. Oh, I love
The
that.
underworld, the heavenly world, the world paved with gold. Words create worlds. You choose what world you're creating. So there you have it, folks. Our first exploration into the science of happiness with Janine de Cabo. Remember that happiness is not an elusive dream, but an achievable reality. And science can guide us to this journey. And it's actually quite a practical thing. So stay tuned for the next 2 episodes of our happiness series, where we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into the pursuit of happiness. Janine, thank you so much for being an incredible guest today. So that wraps up our session of Amplify with Purpose, Business and Life Unlocked. Join us next time as we continue the quest for happiness and personal fulfillment. And remember, guys, no one is coming. You have to be the hero of your own story. We're here to provide you with the tools and the knowledge to amplify your life. So stay tuned, stay curious, and stay happy. Until next time, take care.